Perceptions on a brain level come from electrical firing and electrical processing of frequency information. That's how thoughts manifest at the brain level. And anything that can impact on that is going to impact on thought, which is impacting on perception, which impacts upon behavior, which impacts upon the life experience we all have. This whole conspiracy is a conspiracy of manipulating human perception so they control human behavior. And that's why mavericks, they're so terrified of mavericks, because they can't manipulate them to respond perceptually in the way that they need them to. For me, we have to reassess the nature of self and the experience we're having. Because if you perceive yourself through a series of labels, what I call I am R's, I am a man, I am a woman, I am a black, I am white, I am this, I am the other, I'm Christian, I'm Jewish, all the rest of it, then you are operating not as the true I, you're operating as the misinterpretation of the true I as the experiences you're having. Being white, being black, being Irish, being whatever, is an experience. It's not who you are. Who you are is the consciousness having that experience. And that consciousness is eternal and will at some point withdraw from this body, which is nothing more than a focus of attention for that consciousness in a tiny band of frequencies called visible light, and you will continue your exploration of forever. And if you focus only on your labels and you self-identify only with your labels, then the world looks a certain way and consequences for actions look a certain way. But if you self-identify with being a point of attention within an infinite state of consciousness, and your point of attention could be the size of a pea or infinity itself, just how much you're going to allow in, then you see the whole thing in a different way. I mean, this is where I'm coming from. I don't see my life as a life. I see it just as a short experience. And thus, I existed before and I will exist afterwards as consciousness in its different forms. So in that sense, I don't see consequences like people in label consciousness see consequences. I look at the situation and I say, I'm going to do what I know to be right. I'm going to say what I know to be right. I mean, I could have shut my mouth and edited myself and censored myself, but what's the bloody point? No point whatsoever. You speak your truth and the consequences take care of themselves, and they can have benefits that you never thought possible when something apparently negative happened. But you speak your truth, you live your truth, and the consequences take care of themselves because they don't matter to you in the sense that you're an infinite expression of consciousness. You'll be leaving this body and carrying on, and you came in and you go out and you explore forever. So what happens in terms of consequences, suddenly they don't matter to you. What matters to you is speaking your truth and living your truth. And that has a power. It has a frequency that is much more powerful than lies and mendacity, which is the frequency that this cult works on. That's why they're terrified of people who are not intimidated by them. It gives you this tremendous freedom where you are you. You're not censoring you. You're not editing you. You're just being you. And you're not allowing external influences to impact upon your speaking and living your truth. Because the biggest prison that people live in is this question: what are the consequences for me of doing what I know to be right? And once you ask that question, then the consequences will invariably stop you doing it. But when you open your heart, you're opening to innate intelligence, expanded consciousness, all these things, knowing rather than thinking. And when you do that, there's no way that the heart will say, what are the consequences of doing what I know to be right? It just does it. It just does it. And what happens, happens. And what people will find, and what I've found, is that when you do that, the consequences that you may otherwise have perceived happening don't happen. Or if they do happen, they lead to something very positive that wouldn't have happened without the consequences.